Have you ever had an encounter with God that changed your life? An encounter where you felt his presence, or maybe you heard his voice in such a way that it stopped you short and made you go silent. Maybe you were in a place of complaining or gossiping, or maybe just in your own house, in your own prayer closet, and you've been praying out and calling out, and God says something and it stops you and makes you go silent, or it makes you you're responding. Maybe there's tears that you just can't stop. This is a good place for us to be in a place where we feel the presence of God, where we are aware that God has entered into the room that we are at. One of my favorite things about doing corporate prayer is that sometimes when you're in this environment of corporate prayer, the presence of God will enter in, and his presence will be so thick and so heavy that it silences everyone in the room. And it's like his presence is tangible, like you can reach out and you can touch it and you can feel it, and you're aware of the weight of the presence of God in the room. It's very difficult to go out of that space the same way that you came in. It changes things. His voice changes you. His presence changes you. And I remember even when my mom passed away, there was such a peace that was in the room. It was all so tangible. Like I remember walking in there and just feeling this great peace, like a big fuzzy blanket. And I actually stood there by her bed and I reached up to see if I could grab a hold, if I could feel it. It was so real. It was so tangible. It was so powerful. And so for us, when we are in a place of, a good place, he can enter into our environment to show his pleasure and to show that he is, he's pleased with where we're at. But in the same way, sometimes when we're in sin, when we've done something or said something, or when we're in the middle of a conversation, and we can feel that subtle shift, or sometimes it's not just a subtle shift, it's a tangible, I'm not happy with what you're doing. And we need to embrace those moments. I remember a few years ago, I don't know, 5, 6 years ago, somewhere around there, maybe 7 years ago, I was laying in my bed and I'd been praying and calling out to the Lord, and his presence entered into the room, and I could see it, but there was this tangible authority of God. And I'll tell you, it shapes you and it changes you. And so when we read Genesis chapter 3, verse 10, and it says, when Adam had been caught, God was looking for him, and he said, Adam, where are you? He's entered into the garden. He's looking to have his conversation, his end of the day conversation with Adam. And he's going, where are you? And Adam is like, I heard the sound of you when you came into the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked, and so I hid myself. The reality is, when we're in the presence of God, it's not uncommon for us to feel naked and exposed. It's not uncommon for us to feel like, everything inside of us is being seen by the Lord, whether he says something or not. Like, his presence is holy and his presence is authority. And it's those things, when I was lying in my bed, that authority of God that made me realize everything inside of me. When I've stood before his holiness, I've gone, oh my God, I'm so unworthy. But that's not a bad place to be. Running and hiding is not what we should do. But when we feel naked and we feel exposed, it's the very thing that feels most uncomfortable to us that we need to allow the Lord to look at and go, okay, God, look away. You take a look inside of me and you show me everything that you want me to deal with, everything you want me to get rid of. And let me know the areas you're pleased with, because I want to be holy. I want to live like you are. I want your Holy Spirit to have more say in my life. I want to walk more obediently. I want to love you more. I want to look into your eyes and I want to feel your breath upon my face. I just want to be in this place where you are revealing yourself in a powerful way in every step that I take. So when we read this verse in Genesis chapter 3, verse 10, and it says he heard the sound of God walking in the garden, and he said, I was afraid because I was naked, and so I hid myself. Don't hide yourself. Don't hide yourself from the presence of God. It's uncomfortable. Yes, it is uncomfortable. But every time you feel his presence, know that God is going to do something in you that is powerful. And he's about to do something, manifest himself in you in a way that you've not yet been aware of. So welcome it. Allow his gaze to look at you. Allow him to look into the depth of who you are, and be encouraged, because you are called and you are anointed, and he wants to invade your space. He wants to come in. He wants to open your eyes in a way that you're going to see Jesus. And so be grateful. Be grateful when these moments happen, whether they're uncomfortable or not. And they are often uncomfortable. But embrace him and let God have his way in your life, because you're called, you're anointed, you're chosen, and he's got a plan for your life on the earth in these days.